There is not enough time in the day. Oh my god. I swear I could write a New York Times bestseller on this topic. Also, quick disclaimer, don't think I'm just going like on and on and on about my parents specifically. No, because if I'm going to be talking about African parents, then we all gotta go down. I'm spilling all the tea, we're all sleeping with one eye open tonight, okay? So I'll be providing commentary on African parents and communities in general, just kind of based off of like what I've heard from my own friends and accounts online. Now, before we begin, if you would all just join me in a moment of prayer to free our parents from the shackles of the app known as WhatsApp. If you're not religious, just go ahead, delete the app off their phone. Who's gonna get it back anyways? Alright, it's definitely a bit to go over here, so let's just jump right into it. I broke this video down into very specific points that I wanted to discuss. So starting with the first one, let's talk about discipline. More specifically, these whoopings. Some of you may have already got flashbacks right there, but just stick with me. Stick with me. I think for most people who grew up in an African home, it's like whoopings are almost like a staple. Like, we aren't talking our problems out. To our parents, it's like, huh? Talk it out. Why would I tell my kid not to do something bad again when the belt's just gonna do it all for me? Talk it out. It's like they say, belts speak louder than words. Nah, but like, if you were real lucky, your parents went for anything. Like, I don't think we give our parents enough credit for like the innovation that they had going on up here. Like, I've heard stories of African parents who went for anything when it came to discipline. I'm talking the belt, the switch, the extension cord, wooden spoon, laundry hamper. Like, yo, why? Who made you like this? Why the hamper? Now I look and I smell bad. Talking about some, oh, it's gonna hurt me more than it hurts you. Now I'm over here crying, throwing up, punching wind, sucking air, thinking about when the next train is gonna come so I can make a new life for myself and leave. and then they're gonna come up to you and try to make it up to you with like some McDonald's later. I'm over here like, all right, I'll play this game. But it won't work next time. So many things can constitute this beating too. Like, you speaking back to your parents? You making valid points during a disagreement? Nah, cut that. Nah, not on their watch. How dare you disrespect them? I was lucky though. At least my parents would apologize if, you know, like they were wrong. And like, low key, it gets worse because this also extends to the it takes a village mentality. You gotta leave rooms for your uncles and your aunties to also discipline you too. Oh man, and there goes all the embarrassments. And obviously, like, our parents will usually tell you that they're doing this because they love you and they want the best for you. But I cannot begin to tell you how many times I used to think to myself, like, yo, look, if you just told me what I did wrong and why it was wrong, we wouldn't have to do any of this. We did not have to go here. And I'm willing to bet that there are probably a lot of other kids who have been in the same situation where they've done something wrong or something bad or whatever, but like they didn't actually mean any harm in the end. It's like, honestly, I kind of just wish that our parents wanted to focus more so on us trying to respect them rather than fear them. I feel like that just kind of goes a long way when it comes to creating a stronger bond with them in our relationships in the future. Because I definitely hear about people who talk about how they don't really feel as close to their moms or dads now because of things that they may have done to them in the past. And technically also, like, respect is earned, not just randomly given. Some of us respect people out of fear or custom. I don't really think that's the same. IMO. And sometimes it's not just the physical thing, but the emotional one too. Like, the words that you use matter. Sometimes parents kind of just be talking anyhow about anything with their kids. Because I mean, like, think about it. Do you feel like your parents really give you that, I guess, safe space to be and express yourself freely without any sort of really harsh or rash judgment? That's why I'm kind of happy to see these kids turn adults talk about how they like to use their words more to try and connect with their now kids. Healthy relationships, respectful boundaries created. We need more of that. That's what I like to see. I wanted to see more tips and stories on that. Comparisons. Man, it is never enough. I could be a doctor today, and tomorrow I'll hear, look at Jerry, the engineer. Why didn't you go to school for that?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I mean, it's the kids at church, it's the kids at school, it's the random kids on TV. You know, I wouldn't be too surprised if our parents just come out with like random kids out of thin air to compare us to. Like, your aunt just sent me this article on WhatsApp about this 15-year-old who got into MIT and they just became a millionaire. And I don't know. I give you clothes, food, a roof over your head, I send you to school, I give you a tutor, and you're still not going to Harvard at 14 years old. I'm 10. Like, what do you want me to do? I see you right now. You're laughing at me. But when you see the autobiographies of all these like African kids who grew up to adults, when you see their autobiographies come out, you'll know. So I have this assumption of why our African parents love to compare us so very often. And I think part of it is because of them wanting the best for us, and then them also having very specific markers or ideas for what your life should be like at a very specific moment in time, whether you're like 20 or 30 or 25 or 15 or whatever. And if you don't meet those deadlines as early as possible, then people will start talking about you, or they'll start thinking about a certain way about you or whatever. You ever have those African elders who constantly berate you about trying to get married even though you literally like just got out of college? And this is despite them telling you your entire childhood that you should always stay away as far as possible from boys or girls, not a lick of emotional attachment or any sort of dating at all. So what I like to believe, or at least think about when it comes to this idea of comparisons, is that everyone is basically like good or gifted at something, and they truly should be proud of that. Like, seriously, hats off to them, congratulations, be proud of your achievements. You probably put a lot of time and hard work into reaching that level and perfecting your craft. But that's it. Like, that's kind of where it stops. I'm not this person. I don't have to be good at whatever they're good at. Like, everyone's unique in their own way. Why don't I just spend my time trying to find whatever it is that I like and invest in being good at it? And so what I've come to realize is that even if I were to get to the level of the person that I am being compared to, it's not enough. It's never enough, in fact. There's always going to be someone else to compare me to, and you won't even like respect or appreciate me for the accomplishments that I've made for myself. So my assumption is that parents will try to compare you to other people almost as a way of trying to like inspire you. But when I think about it, I don't even feel any inspired when I'm doing the comparison to myself. I just feel really annoyed and irritated and like a drag. And I don't want to feel that way. It's like, I just want to focus on who I am, what I have, and also just focus on whatever goals I have for myself. It's kind of like they say, comparison is the thief of joy. Man, we all know how this conversation goes. Some of us gotta heal from like issues that came from our parents or like other older generations. And no, it is not fair, but like, I think we gotta sometimes work with the cards that were dealt. But beyond us, some of our parents really need that therapy, because it doesn't really help if the person who starts the cycle doesn't see any issues with what they've done in the past. I think we'll just get all the way right back to step one. It's almost like talking about mental health is, in a way, some sort of taboo packed with a bunch of stigma. And It may not be exactly that one perfect solution exactly, but there's so much good that can come out of it. Also, expressing yourself to a third party could be incredible. Like, there's so much ground we could unpack. I could finally deal through any trust issues that I have, and parents can finally deal through issues of figuring out why they get so mad when we change the channel even though they're asleep. It's a win-win. Seriously though, there's gotta be some sort of logical answer that science can explain for that one. Now, the phrase that I'm assuming a number of you have frequently heard in the past are things along the lines of praying your issues away, or to give it all to God, or you're just not praying hard enough. And religion definitely plays a very, very big role in a lot of our parents' lives, actually, and it definitely shows. I'm not trying to, of course, discredit or knock it down at all, but I do wish that we could kind of see religion and therapy coexisting, because, at least in my opinion, you're not putting any less faith in God by seeking professional help for your mental health. In fact, therapy actually might have been the answer to some of your prayers this entire time. I think this whole stigma about talking things out in general, in my humble opinion, it's just gotta go. Okay, so I didn't want to rant for too long, and I'm just gonna stop at this point. This last one though was a criticism that I had in regards to some people as it applies to this current gen, last gen before that, and I think it's just an issue that doesn't really get addressed too often, and it's about this almost sense of superiority that some people in our African communities start to emulate, especially when you see the conversation shift to talking about African Americans. It's kind of like this issue where I noticed that some people see African Americans as less than when it comes to culture or discussions of mannerisms or dialects or what have you. It's like people try to use all the negative stereotypes they can find to bring down the entire group. People were stolen and forced onto a foreign land, had their original culture and language stripped of them, had terrible atrocities done to them, had to endure centuries and centuries of hardships just to make something new for themselves, and you want to see them as less than? Ridiculous, inappropriate, prejudice, not cool. It's just gotta stop. So I think that some people do it just to kiss up to a certain group of people, more especially white people, because trust me, there's definitely a way that some of our African brethren see white people, that they put them on a throne, and it's like they try to play every single game of respectability politics in the book just to make sure that they are not labeled the same as an African American. It's almost as if they've got some sort of racial hierarchy thing going on when it comes to likability, and it's like, even if you were one of the best African American people that they knew, as soon as you mess up just once, they'll start devaluing you to all these negative stereotypes, even though I guarantee you that some people of other racial groups would not have any problem trying to devalue you as an African to any negative stereotypes as well. There's some people who are more covert about it, but if you're African and you start dating somebody who is African American, then that's when you start to really see those people's colors definitely showing. And honestly, again, this could be a whole video topic in itself, but I kind of just wanted to scratch the surface with it, because again, I can't really say I've heard or seen too many people discuss this enough. So yeah, I'm not gonna drag this out any longer. I guess I'll just end this by saying, I think every good parent just wants what they think is best for their child, and a great parent at least strives to have their child live a better life than they once did, however they can. And I think a lot of our African parents want and mean the best for us, even if it's in ways that we may not exactly understand. So I'd be willing to bet that a good amount of our parents probably left their home countries to live a better life, but of course that obviously didn't mean that they just left their cultures or customs or traditions behind. Even if they live differently from the culture around them, they still raise us with what feels familiar to them or whatever seemed like it worked. Especially if you have parents who are much more religious or spiritual, I do believe you kind of see that aspect of them caring for you in their own way when you see them screaming to the top of their lungs and praying for you day and night. Even if you might kind of have different sentiments in regards to prayer or religion just in general. In any case, I just hope we can take the time to heal and do better than the people before us. So yeah, I guess I'm just gonna call it here. No, actually, you know what? And another thing.